Blog Talk Radio.
All praises to the Father, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the Creator, my God. As I've said many a time, things are getting crazy. It's funny to me how a lot of the world, the Christians, the Jewish, the Hindus, that all these religious people, it's just funny to me how they do not correlate the times. I mean, they're running around talking about climate change. They're running around talking about, human-induced climate change. When has that ever happened ever? The issue is that these people who rule this world at this time screwed history up to such a degree that they have us believing that the ancients were dumb. They have us believing that primitive people mean ignorant and stupid. They have us believing that the people who built all these megaliths to stand time knew nothing about mathematics. They have us to believe that today's scientists who has everyone believing that we have broken the firmament and gone to the moon, gone to Mars, can see these planets, can go into so-called space, are smart. And yet, they're so smart, so intelligent, with such vast information and vast knowledge and vast capacity for learning and educating themselves, that yet we have a human-induced climate change issue. See, common sense has to be, we have to bring back common sense to the forefold. A lot of times we're running around believing the things that are the foolishness, like it is the epitome of dumbness out of these people. And listen, these people who rule this earth are not human. You can't be human and have no care for humanity. So you can't be. So again, that's common sense. And also these people who are cleaving to these unholy people, they are not smart enough to recognize what they're doing. And it's to be expected. It is to be expected. We cannot expect to have a people who don't acknowledge the Creator, don't acknowledge their own history, their own abominations. We can't expect them to be smart. Because intelligence and wisdom comes from acknowledging your indiscretions, acknowledging your errors. People won't acknowledge their errors. Can they really be smart? Can they show intelligence? Again, common sense. This is not against anyone. These are just facts of the matter. Facts are facts. If I ran around town killing, shooting, stealing, and robbing, get caught, and they go, well, what do you have to say for yourself? And I said, well, I'd do it again. Am I smart? I don't believe that I did anything wrong. Am I smart? Am I not being smart if I don't acknowledge my error. And this is the fundamental, that piece is the fundamental case for Israel. Now, we're not talking about the Israelis, because then that also is an error, because Israel is a people, not a place. If you look up what the place was anciently called, it was called Zion. Today, they don't call the place, the stolen land that they occupy, the Palestinian land that they stolen Palestinian land that they occupy, Zion. They call it Israel. And then when you ask them about how are they connected to Israel, they call you anti-Semitic. See, this is why it's pretty comical at this point to listen to these people, because we're starting to like we are. It's like we are now. And I'm gonna use this analogy. We're like Usain Bolt in the 200. We have gotten. We were slow off the start. We picked up pace. We got around the 100 mark. We got 100 meters to go, and now we're just blowing past them. We're separating ourselves so fast and so far, so quickly from them that they can't. What they say, and it's funny. I was watching this video, and it what was the name? Oh my goodness, I can't even recall the name of it right now. I can pull it up on my phone, but I want to just say it. So this brother was talking to. It was a panel, and they had some fellas on it, some white fellas and some brothers. And the brother was talking about how you cannot be, basically about anti-Semitism, okay, which isn't even the word. It's a false word. It's Shemitic, okay? Shemitic. So the brother was talking about, hey, there's no way you can be, we can look at in Genesis and see, the table of nations and see if Ashkenaz, because the Jewish fellow was calling himself, he was agreeing, yeah, we're Ashkenazi, but then the brother said, well, you can look at the table of nations and see that Ashkenaz is not from Shem. That's, again, not rocket science. It's not even a deep dig, a deep dive into any type of knowledge. That's in your face. They gave you Genesis. They gave us Genesis. That's in our face. That slaps to our face. So they're calling themselves Shem, but they're actually from Japheth. Again, we know this isn't hard, right? So the Jewish boy was saying, well, none of that matters. None of that even matters. Hey, that's irrelevant at this point. And the brother was like, well, how is that irrelevant? You guys are saying that, Kyrie was Kanye and Kyrie were anti-Semitic when they were talking about that they are Semitic. They are Shemitic, that they can't be anti themselves. And he was like, well, that doesn't even matter. Now, watch this. He goes, it doesn't even matter because, the Bible is not really a history. It's not a history book. It's a book of stories. See, here you go, common sense. Then why are you using anti-Semitic? Because that is a biblical term. Well, that's just a word. But why are you using the word anti-Semitic if you are Japhetic and you believe that the Bible is just a book of stories? Why would you use any of that? It would have been better suited for you to use anti-Japhetic, which then wouldn't hold the same authority or weight as anti-Shemitic, which then would mean that there's some people who are Shemitic. See, this is why we have to use common sense. Things are not that difficult anymore. We are seeing things so fast and so clear. Like this vision that we're having now, this is, Brother Big Judah, he said, and it was interesting, him and Brother Levi, they both said it. In 2020, they were like, 2020 vision. So our eyes, so of course Israel was blinded, right? So we were so blind for such a long time that once the blindness went away from us in 2019, we had to get corrected vision for 2020. 2020, we got our vision corrected. Perfect vision. Think about that. Now, many of us before 2020 was seeing things. We were understanding things. We're gaining understanding and overstanding and understanding of a lot of things. But it was not until 2020 that we started realizing and seeing the truth. And now here in 22, we're like, no, sir. The cat is out the bag. There is no way for us to go back into a deep hibernation of sleep. The season has changed. We're like the mighty bear. We have awoken. We are now up, and it's our season. Whilst the rest of the world is crumbling and falling and faltering and coming under error, the volcanoes, the Hawaiian volcano. I mean, what's next? Yellowstone? I mean, don't sleep. These things are happening, and you know, I said this before. We have to remember here in America, in the United supposed States, home of the free, yada yada, brave, blah blah blah. We have to realize that we are afforded so many more rights and abilities to obtain things than most other nations, most other of our cousins and brothers and sisters across the world. Okay, so because we have 20/20 vision doesn't mean everybody else around the world at this moment has 20/20 vision. It does not mean that they will not have 20/20 vision, but it means it does not mean that they do have it at this point. And that's key, because when the whole world has this 20/20 vision, then everything changes. Then time's up. It's a wrap. Christ comes back, puts the word to the nations, and you know the story. So right now, we got it. You know, we're getting it. It's just like IUIC. These brothers is out there and doing their thing. Now, I'm not a camper, right? That's not how I roll. I mean, I understand everyone is set forth for a reason. I'm not bad-mouthing brothers that are out here doing this work. And them brothers, all the brothers that are in the camps put in hard days' work. Those are the brothers that are out there fighting the good fight. Brothers, other brothers and sisters, we're set to do other things. We're warriors, but we're set to do other things. It's like officers and gentlemen and officers. There's a hierarchy. There's an order to this. What it is, we don't know at this moment. But what we know is that these camp brothers is out here putting in work, so we can't be mad at them by no stretch of the imagination. So anyway, them brothers was out there going around the Barclays Center. Things that they don't talk about and they don't say, which I heard and looked into, which is true, is that at the same time those brothers were coming, this is how the Most High be working. I'm telling you, God bless it. The same time them brothers was coming in with their buses and getting out and getting ready and getting organized around the Barclays Center, guess who else was showing up at the same time? The people that were showing up at the same time were the small hat people. They were thousands strong, getting off their buses at the same time. So what was happening? So what was happening was the synagogue of Satan was coming in there to get after Kyrie. Remember, because at the same time, inside, at the same time that was going on inside, they had all those Jewish people with the shirts going, whatever, anti-Semitic, blah, 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 you know, whatever they talking, right? The whole time paying them money to watch him, to be entertained by him, which is something else we'll get into later on. But that word, entertainment. But it was interesting to find out that the small hat people, the Ishises, were coming strong and deep to surround the Barclays themselves to be able to, I guess, strong-arm Kyrie after the game. Isn't that interesting? But then when they saw IUIC out there, when they saw them strong Israelite men, they got in their buses and rolled out and went to Crown Heights. This is what was said. Now, I wasn't there, so I ain't see them roll out to Crown Heights or wherever the hell they went. I didn't see that, nor do I really care. All I know is that they rolled out, okay? And that's the story. That's the story of why that all transpired. The Most High had IUIC go out there to thwart the plan of the serpent seed, of the synagogue of Satan, okay? And you know, it's funny, as I'm saying serpent seed, you know, indicates wisdom. Wisdom has no good or evil. It's based on how you utilize it, okay? And so for a long time, wisdom has been utilized evilly. So a lot of people have taken wisdom captive, just like they took Israel captive. So they've taken the wisdom, the knowledge, and they put it into subjection to be utilized for their own will, for their own doing. And as we know, their own doing is wretched and wickedness and ratchetness, right? Again, if it was good, if wisdom was being used properly, the earth and the world would not be in the situation it's in today. Period. That's the end of that story. That is just the facts, Jack. Okay? So anybody ever come and talk about, well, you know, I believe in Jesus and you know, I believe in Judaism and I believe in this and you know, God loves everybody. Well, wait, time out. If that is the case, if that actually is the case, then what you're saying is that everyone should be as one, loving God who loves them. But climate change, due to human climate change, whatever, wars, volcanoes, earthquakes, tornadoes, GDPs getting crushed, stock markets, bonds, inflation, rioting, chaos, murder. That's prevailing today. So where is that? How is the Creator loving? How can the Creator love everyone unconditionally, and all this madness is afoot? See, that's the ignorance of the heathen. Not even the Gentile, because the Gentile's just dumb. That's just the dumbness of the Gentile and the ignorance of the heathen. And for a long time, they were able to do this. That's why they can't figure out. That's why they are unable to deal with their own history. But for a long time, we were blind. So we couldn't see where we were and how the true Israelites dealt with things, and how the true Israelites saw things and reflected on things and thought of things and said things and did things. That knowledge was lost to us for a time. And, you know, all of this is not hateful to anyone. These are just facts. That's why it's so funny to me. That's why, you know, for a long time, you know, it's like when people want to say, you know, well, why do you guys always got to talk about that? Why you got to talk about that? Why can't you talk? Well, because for a long time we couldn't talk about anything else. We couldn't talk about we couldn't talk about who we were. We couldn't talk about what we know, how we felt, what we thought. And now we get the freedom to do that. That's all we're going to do. This is all we're going to do, and rightfully so. When Israel was on the earth collectively as a collective, as well as a Northern and Southern. I'm sure those brothers and sisters only talked about the Most High and what they were and how they thought and what they felt. I mean, because I'm sure that, like, unequivocally, without a doubt, sure of all surety that that's what they did, because check it out. That's what the Gentiles and the heathen do now. They talk about all their stuff. They talk about what they believe. They talk about how they see things. So it's only natural. This is a natural progression. Now, mind you, this has only been a true 7-year conversation. Really a true, we're 222, a true 3-year, going on 3-year conversation that we're having strongly, where we feel no fear in having this conversation. And it's funny, now brothers are talking about anti-Semitism. Shoot, brothers weren't talking about that before? Not feeling empowered enough to talk about it? See, everything's a process. We're coming to this process. And then we're going to talk about that too, because it's just interesting to me. It's not even funny. It's just so interesting. And I'm so thankful to even be in this position, to even understand this through all my faults, to even be part of this awakening, you know. But we're going to talk about 2nd Baruch, the book of the Apocalypse of Baruch, the son of Neriah. Because everything that we're dealing with, Baruch was dealing with. Everything that we've asked, Baruch was asking. You know, it's like, you know, when we talk about how we want things to be, people always wanted us to talk about it from their perspective. That's why it is difficult for a lot of people to deal with us, because we gives not to Phil Florence. We don't care about what they're talking about. We don't. We don't care what they think or what they're talking about. And it's not rudely we don't care. It's just that, hey, we're thinking other things. We're thinking about us. We're thinking about how we relate and interact to one another and to the Father and to the spirits. And for such a long time, they've never seen that. They've never seen how we react, how we interact with each other, and how we actually think. Because every time that we thought, for us to think, it had to be thinking in a European way, in a European manner. We had to think on things that they thought about. We had to like things that they thought, that they liked. We had to speak on things that they spoke about. We had to agree with things that they agreed with. Okay? But now all that's done. We don't have to do any of that anymore. Matter of fact, it's their loss if they choose to go against us. It's their loss. If they try to suppress us now, our voices now, it's their loss. That's why you don't see the fake Jews running out here trying to come against us. They can't. It's their loss. They have lost the game. They have lost the plot. Is really what they lost. They have lost the plot. It's just like the Holocaust. Wait a minute. I mean, if you think about it, you know, just like Sister Pat be saying, I mean, it's 12 years, if that. 12 years versus 400. Give me a break already. Give me a break. I mean, really? 12 years. You went through some. And listen. I'm not condoning nothing that went down. But that went down, and that's the way it went down. But here's the deal. They were gassed. Them dudes were gassed. They said, get in there, and we're going to put this gas on you, going to sleep. You ain't even know. Did a little bit, and they fell out. Done. But for us, they They just so we can tell the difference, they lynched us, hung us while alive, burnt us while alive, being hung, cut off our dang-a-langs, cut open our bellies while alive, put us in the fire while alive, pulled us out of the fire so that we wouldn't die, so that we would have a horrible death. Now, damn it, I don't get a two Florence. I'm trying not to curse, but I don't care about your little gassing at the end of the day. I don't care. Absolutely. And mind you, this gassing, they were lynching us and eating us and destroying us when that was going on. But don't nobody care. Don't nobody talk about that. It's always about their little gassing. Like they got gas. I mean, shoot, take some Gas X and keep it moving. Get out of here. Rid yourself with that gas. I don't care about it. I don't. And that's not being hardcore. That's just a matter of fact. Listen, okay, you had some problems. Some white people destroyed you, but some white people destroyed us. But we didn't seem to come up as high as you came up, and we're shim. The legacy is with us, but somehow you got the legacy, you got the gas and the legacy and the cash. You got the gas, the cash, and the legacy. The inheritance, the gas, the cash, the legacy. And what we got? We got the lynchings, the killings, the legislation, the laws going against us. We got the hatred. We got the isms, toes. We got the bottom. We got the miseducation. We got the crap. And somehow, y'all got all the comeuppance. And we ain't getting nothing. That's whack. So, yeah, I don't care. I don't care about any of that. And that's not me being mean, because the catch is, obviously, they don't care about what happened to us, what happened to me. Oh, that didn't happen to you. Listen, what happened to to people that look like me happened to me. The same thing that they talking about today. Those Jews didn't have the Jews today. That they didn't get gas, but they getting paid. They getting the cash. They feel some sort of way about it. Dude, I'm feeling some sort of way about it. So, I mean, don't come trying to talk to me and people like me about what I should feel about my history, about what people did to my people within their history and my history. Don't do it. Don't do it. You will lose that battle. You will lose it because this is not your turn no more. And I think, to be honest, I'm being civil. I'm being very civil and mild-mannered because I understand what is going on. And I can see the error. I can see it. So me seeing the error is not me killing them, not me lynching them, not me enslaving them. And it's so funny. Today, all you hear is a bunch of white dudes getting on YouTube and TikTok and social media, Instagram and Facebook, and they crying about, we're going to be enslaved. They trying to put us in slavery, this mental slavery, this economic slavery. And I'm thinking to myself, yeah, isn't that fitting? Isn't that funny? It's fitting and funny at the same time because you're crying about going into slavery because you put people in slavery. So is this not fitting? Is this not karma? So every time I hear them crying the blues, I just chuckle to myself. Like, yeah, man, yeah, absolutely. This is your slavery. You're going to feel this effect. And really it's nothing more than a mental slavery, right? That's all it is. Same thing they did to us. So they are about to have a Willie Lynch all to themselves. It's about to come upon them like a thief in the night. And they're not going to be ready. They're not going to be prepared. Matter of fact, they threw all their oil out because so many of them thought they were going to be raptured away that they didn't. They just said, you know what, if I ain't getting raptured, I'm throwing this out. YOLO. And so now they're running amok, mentally dysfunctional, with a lot of mental illness, no peace of mind, chaos, madness, and stupors, delusionment, and ignorance. And we see it. I mean, you look at ABC Nightly News, right? Everybody got problems. An off-duty police officer goes to, to another state after being online, trying to mess with this 15-year-old girl, underage girl, and by their law. So Johnny Law went across state lines to break the law, rape and have this affair with this child. And in lieu of that, or rather, when that was happening, he somehow got caught up and he killed the family. The cops in that state found out who he was, like they got wind of it after he killed him, and then he's running from the law. So is this not the funniest thing? Is this not irony or what? The law running from the law. See how the Most High is just making them look. He is making a mockery out of these people, of everything that they do. It's just like Kanye. Kanye want to be the president. He want to shoot. I'm voting. I don't care. Listen, I don't vote. I don't care about it. It doesn't even make sense to me. But if Kanye is willing to make a mockery out of this system, this political system, I'm willing to give my vote for that. All day, every day. Shoot. The Spirit said, if Kanye runs, if I make Kanye run, you're voting. Done. I'll walk in there with my big old Cajun boots on and my Cajun rubber boots on like Kanye got, and a hoodie, and just vote. Why not? It's already a joke. It's a joke. And it's a joke because we stopped believing that. We stopped believing in their system. We stopped believing in their education. Look at their education. They want to teach queerdom, 3, 4, and 5. I mean, shoot, if you want to be 16 and 17 and 18 and learn through that in sex ed like it was when I was growing up, so be it. But, I mean, why you got to go to the preschoolers? You're degenerate. That's why. Then you got the Latin X's and the Hispanics thinking that it's their turn now to rule, okay? Because they think that they have they now have the beauty of the world. They're women, okay? It's just so funny to watch this whole thing. So now you got these Latin people, Hispanic people acting like they were original Americans. So it's all fine and good. It's just like back in the 1800s. It's just like the white folks. It's all fun and good when they believed it was all good for them to write all this truth when they believed they were Israel, right? Oh, the 12 tribes went through. It was in Europe, right? Okay, which there's some truth in that, but not the way they believed. So it was all good when they were. Believing that it was them, just like now these Latin folks, they believe that the Olmecs were them, they believe that the Mayans were them, they believe, and it's so funny, these people look just as, I was looking at the World Cup today, and I'm looking at I've been watching the whole thing, but I'm looking at it and I'm going, dang, everybody look like they Polish, everybody white. Like, Poland, they really pasty. But everybody, Argentinians look pasty white. Brazilians look pasty white. Ecuadorians look very pasty white. Tunisians look pasty white. Everybody look white. Mexicans, pasty white. And I'm going, what the hell is going on here? There's no black people there? Really? All over this globe. So that's what I was saying earlier. They have pushed us down. They have suppressed us, suppressed who we are, suppressed our abilities and our talents in the world. So the rest of the world is still able to suppress us because the Europeans have now went. They can't really control us here. It's a wrap. They sure enough can't control anybody in Africa. It's a wrap. So now they trying to control the other nations around us, the Canadas, the Mexicans, the Mexicos, the Central Americas, the South Americas, the Northern Africas, the so-called Middle East areas, the Easterns. They want to control them. They want to still show themselves as still in control. So that's why when you look at these people, they all look like they are, but yet somehow they are, and it's so funny, how in the filth flooring can the temples all over the earth show dark-skinned people, but yet today they are white? And I was going back and forth with this foolish person before the Spirit said, why are you being foolish? Get off with them. Block. So I did it. And they were like, people miscegenated with the Europeans came and miscegenated with the people that were there, and now we're the people. And I'm going, but the original people is who we're talking about. We don't care who's there now. We don't care. Yes, you may have some descendants of, but because the recessive gene of melanin has made you white, it also has made your mind, your mentality white. So therefore, you are so far removed from the original Aboriginal people that you don't gain, how I say this, you do not get the same treatment that they got and that I get, being dark. So, at the end of the day, miss me with all this, we are the people. And it's just like some brothers and sisters, they don't think that the indigenous people, or they don't think that, like, the Americas is the lands of Shem, because they think that the Europeans, just like these other people, they think that the Europeans came in and mixed with some people, and that's that. And I'm going, but no one deals with history in truth. No one deals with it because they are so dysfunctional thinking. Because if you dealt with history, you would want to deal with the original, the beginning, and come forward and come back to us. Okay, but that's we're not going to fight that battle this time or ever until the Most High comes in and gives people understanding, which is fine. I'm not here to say that everybody's got to know what I know or everybody's got to believe what I believe. It doesn't matter to me. I believe what I do. I believe what I believe. The Most High has given me a platform to talk about it and the knowledge and wisdom and confidence to do so, and I'm going to do it because I just keep seeing that this stuff is getting crazier and crazier and crazier. Now, entertain, before we get into Baruch. Entertain. This is why I say I don't entertain things. I always say this. I'm done entertaining I will not entertain Gentile logic. I will not entertain Gentile things or thinking or anything that they do. Ideology. Okay, I just won't. Okay? Thing is what they have us doing, entertaining, right? So entertain, provide someone with amusement or enjoyment. Okay? So that's the first thing. Number 2, entertain, to give attention or consideration to an idea, suggestion, or feeling. So for a long time, we have entertained them 360 degrees. We danced and sang for them, and we entertained everything that they said. We considered all their ideas, their suggestions, and their feelings. So once we stop painting them, then we become who we're supposed to be. They then become who they're supposed to be. The only reason they are is because we are, and the only reason we are is because we entertain them. And at the end of the day, once we stop entertaining them, then we be who the Most High wants us to be. Then they become who the Most High wants them to be. I mean, that only makes sense to me. Like, we have been dealing with man's ideas and feelings amiss from ourselves. And really, truly, they have too, because everything that they've done is a lie and false as well. Everything we've done is a lie and false as well, as it pertains to this civilization, the entertaining of it. That's why I said, like, when I'm watching the World Cup, I'm going, man, there's no brothers. So what you're trying to tell me is there's sprinkling of us here and there, and then everywhere in Africa? I mean, Tunisia. But yeah, it's Europe, but it's in Africa. So that was when that's the Crusades of the Arabs. That's the Arab slave trade. But somehow everybody wants to be white. That's all I'm saying. It's like those times are over. The time where everybody, like Nigerians wanted to bleach their skin. Those days are over. Michael Jackson wanted to, he had whatever it's called, the skin disease. But whatever, man. You could have dyed your skin. You could have darkened your skin. But instead you chose to lighten your skin. So whatever, man. So we are starting to see the full-on demise of this Western civilization. And to be honest, I'm excited. All right, let's get to Baruch real quick. So before I do that, let me give you the definition of consummation. So consummation, we know it from a marital standpoint, but also it simply means the completion of, okay? The completion of. So I'm going to read 1 through 4 real quick. Baruch 2, 2 Baruch 1 through 4. Then we're going to get into it, because this is why we are in the plight that we're in today. Okay, watch this. And it came to pass in the 25th year of Jeconiah, king of Judah, that the word of the Lord came to Baruch, the son of Neriah, and said to him, have you seen all that this people are doing to me? That the evils which these 2 tribes, which remained, have done are greater than those of the 10 tribes which were carried away captive? For the former tribes were forced by their kings to commit sin, but these 2 of themselves have been forcing and compelling their kings to commit sin. For this reason, behold, I will bring evil upon this city and upon its inhabitants, and it shall be removed from before me for a time, and I will scatter this people among the Gentiles, that they may do good to the Gentiles, and my people shall be chastened, and the time shall come when they will seek for the prosperity of their times. Okay? That's the reason why. That's the reason why. And, people say, oh, well, this was, back then. And listen, everything, the Most High does things the same over and over and over and over again so that you know that it's him. He's not running around doing trickery and doing things different, because then anyone could take credit for it. So, the mind of a Gentile is dumb when it comes to biblical understanding, because it's not theirs. So they think that, oh, God's going to change. He can change. And of course he can, but he won't, because he says that. He says it. He could, but he doesn't. So this is why we've been taking this ass whipping, okay? Because of the evil that our kings have done and the evils that we forced our kings to do. And this has been an ongoing cycle with Israel, okay? Let's get into it. Let me get to... Excuse me. All right. Okay, this is 12. I'm not gonna read it all, but I'm gonna read some of these because it's very interesting. So this is 2 Baruch 12:5 through 13. This is the second fast of Baruch, revelation as to the coming judgment on the heathen. See, and that's why I keep talking about these heathens, because the heathen is the one that did this to us. The Gentiles, they just are foolish. They just being led astray. All right, and they leading us astray. But it's the heathen that are doing these things. Okay, and when I had said these things, I fasted 7 days. And it came to pass after these things that I, Baruch, was standing upon Mount Zion, and lo, a voice came from the height and said unto me, Stand upon your feet, Baruch, and hear the word of the mighty God. Because you have been astonished at what has befallen Zion, you shall therefore be assuredly preserved to the consummation, to the completion of the times, that you may be for a testimony, so that if ever those prosperous cities say, Why hath the mighty God brought upon us this retribution? Say you to them, you and those like you, who shall have seen this evil, this is the evil, a retribution which is coming upon you and upon your people in its destined time, that the nations may be thoroughly smitten, and then they shall be in anguish, and if they say at that time, For how long? You will say to them, Ye who have drunk the strained wine, drink you also of its dregs. See, that's where we are. The judgment of the lofty one, who has no respect of persons. On this account, he had aforetime no mercy on his own sons, but afflicted them as his enemies, because they sinned. Then therefore they were chastened. See, that they might be sanctified. But now, you peoples and nations, you are guilty, because you have always trodden down the earth and used the creation unrighteously. For I have always benefited you, and you have always been ungrateful for my beneficence. Okay? And in 4 through 19, the righteousness of the righteous have profited neither them nor their city. God's judgment, prehensible, the world was made for the righteous, yet they pass, and the world remains. Man knows God's judgment and has sinned willingly. The world is a weariness to the righteous, but the next is theirs to be won through character, whether a man's time here be long or short. The final wheel. All right, watch it. The final wheel. Let me do something real quick. Okay, so the wheel. Now W-E-A-L is this word. So the wheel, the final wheel, the phrase wheel and woe means both in times of happiness and success and in times of sadness and difficulty. So it's a wheel. It's actually the completion, the consummation of time. It actually could also stand for a wheel. W-H-E-E-L, right? Or better yet, a circle, right? Which is what we keep seeing all over the earth, especially with the animals, okay? Let's move on. So the final wheel. Final countdown. All right, I digress. All right. So, we're talking about Baruch here, and Baruch is asking all these questions. And Baruch is struggling. So I'm trying to find his word. Baruch is troubled. So Baruch is troubled. He's asking these questions, and one of the questions he asks, he says, "For of what profit is strength that turns to sickness, or fullness of food that turns to famine, or beauty that turns to ugliness? For the nature of man is always changeable. For what we were formerly, now we no longer are, and what we now are, we shall not afterwards remain. For if a consummation had not been prepared for us, in vain would have been their beginning. But regarding everything that comes from you, do you inform me, and regarding everything about which I ask you, do you enlighten me?" So, Baruch is like, yo, Father, I hear you. I hear you. All this stuff, it's all vanity. It's all vain imagination. And it's true. It's true. The Gentiles have created this vain imagination of everything, and made everything about themselves. And none of it really matters. That's what he's saying. I mean, the Father has given, we ask, he gives us answers. He gives us enlightenment. I mean, has the Gentiles has the heathens ever given us enlightenment? Have they ever answered any of our questions? So this one is 21, 2 Baruch 21, 19 through 25. Baruch prays to God to hasten the judgment and fulfill his promise. This is where we're at. Okay? How long, Father, I'll just read it as it. How long will that which is corruptible remain? And how long will the time of mortals be prospered? And until what time will those who transgress in the world be polluted with much wickedness? Command, therefore, in mercy and accomplish all that you said you would bring, that your might may be made known to those who think that your long-suffering is weakness, and show to those who not know that everything that has befallen us and our city until now has been according to the long-suffering of your power, because on account of your name you have called us a beloved people. Bring to an end, therefore, henceforth mortality, and reprove accordingly the angel of death, and let your glory appear, and let the might of your beauty be known, and let Sheol be sealed, so that from this time forward it may not receive the dead, and let the treasuries of souls restore those which are enclosed in them. For there have been many years like those that are desolate from the days of Abram and Isaac and Jacob, and of all those who are like them, who sleep in the earth, on whose account you did say that you had created the world. And now quickly show your glory, and do not defer what you have promised, what has been promised by you. And when I had completed the words of this prayer, I was greatly weakened. So this is a strong prayer. Baruch has had enough. He's done. This is where we are. This is our prayers. Father, do unto them as they have done to your children. Come, let us be enlightened. Take us away from here. Chastise them. And he's doing it. He's just doing it in his time. And so this is God's reply, okay, to Baruch. He will fulfill his promise. Time needed for its accomplishment, right? Things must be judged in the light of their completion till all souls are born. The end cannot come. And he says, and it came to pass that these things that it came to pass after these things that, lo, the heavens were open, and I saw, and power was given to me. And a voice was heard from on high, and it said unto me, Baruch, Baruch, why are you troubled? He who travels by road does not complete it, or who departs by sea but does not arrive at the port, can he be comforted? Or he who promises to give a present to another but does not fulfill it, is it not robbery? Or he who sows the earth but does not reap its fruit in its season, does he not lose everything? or he who plants a plant unless it grows to the time suitable to it? Does he who planted expect to receive fruit from it, or a woman who has conceived? If she bring forth untimely, does she not assuredly slay her infant? Or he who builds a house, if he does not roof it and complete it, can it be called a house? Tell me that first. Now, Baruch was over there saying, do this, do that, Father. Now he's saying, wait, this is my time. I mean, can you do this? You tell me first. And he says, and I answered and said, no, not so, O Lord, my Lord. And he answered and said unto me, why therefore are you troubled about that which you know not? Now this is how the Father is so great. Why therefore are you troubled about that which you know not? And why are you ill at ease about things in which you are ignorant? For as you have not forgotten the people who now are and those who have passed away, so I remember those who are appointed to come. Because when Adam sinned and death was decreed against those who should be born, then the multitude of those who should be born was numbered. And for that number a place was prepared where the living might dwell and the dead might be guarded. Before, therefore, the number aforesaid is fulfilled, creature will not live again. For my spirit is the creator of life, and Sheol will receive the dead. And again, it is given to you to hear what things are to come after these times. For truly my redemption has drawn nigh, and it is not far distant as aforetime. For behold, the days come, and the books shall be opened, in which are written the sins of all those who have sinned. And again, also the treasuries in which the righteousness of all those who have been righteous in creation is gathered. For it shall come to pass at that time that you shall see, and the many that are with you, the long suffering of the Most High, which has been throughout all generations, who has been long suffering towards all who are born, alike those who sin and those who are righteous. And I answered and said, but behold, O Lord, no one know the number of those things which have passed, nor yet of those things which are to come. For I know indeed that which has befallen us, but what will happen to our enemies, I know not, and when you will visit your works. So I did a couple few, a month or maybe, a while back, I did a show on this, and I read this then. I'm reading this again. This is what the Father has told us. This is how we know the Father is working. So he said, this is the sign, this is 2 Baruch 25, right? 25 through 26. Sign of the coming judgment. And he answered and said unto me, you too shall be preserved till that time, till that sign which the Most High will work for the inhabitants of the earth in the end of days. This, therefore, shall be the sign. Now watch this. Let me before I read it, because I think that this is the Most High. He makes me go back over things. So let's do it. Let's do it. You too shall be preserved till that time till that sign which the Most High will work for the inhabitants of the earth in the end of days. This therefore shall be the sign, when a stupor shall seize the inhabitants of the earth, and they shall fall into many tribulations, and again when they shall fall into great torments. And it will come to pass when they say in their thoughts, by reason of their much tribulation, the Mighty One doth not longer remember the earth. Yes, it will come to pass when they abandon hope that the time will then awake. So let's go to stupor, because that's a key. That is so key. A state of near unconsciousness or insensibility. Just marinate on that. A state of near unconsciousness or insensibility. Now, unconsciousness, first of all, you got to be conscious to even be unconscious. So these people were never conscious. They were never conscious. Okay? So he's saying a state of near, or a stupor, a state of near unconsciousness or insensibility. Right? Days. a drunken stupor. Okay? And I answered and said, will that tribulation which is to be continued a long time, and will that necessity embrace many years? And now we're getting into it. Now we're about to get into the meat, and this is the meat right here, because this is going to tell you. This is why I'm saying today, right now, we are in the 12th woe. This is where we are, the 12th woe. And the reason why I say that is what I'm about to read, and I know I read this. I just can't learn it. As I get older, like Brother Levi says, as I get older, my mind, my memory, forgive me. So anyway, and he answered and said unto me, into 26 through 30. This is Baruch, 2 Baruch 26 through 30. The 12 woes that are to come upon the earth, the Messiah and the temporary messianic kingdom. Okay, and he said, and he answered and said unto me, into 12 parts it is the time divided, and each one of them is reserved for that which is appointed for it. In the first part there shall be the beginning of commotions. Now, when we look at these, when we break down these 12 parts, it could be any time period up to now, okay? And it also could be any time recently up to now. So when you think about these woes, think of it as ancient history, because remember, everything is a cycle. Everything comes again, ebbs and flows, right? So you can think of it like we could think of the commotions of Alexander the Great, but we also could think of the commotions of Trump, okay, or Biden, right? I mean, these woes are not they are systematic. They are systematic, so they are constant, okay. Just wanted to make sure I said that. Okay, so in the first part there shall be the beginning of commotions, and in the second part there shall be slayings of the great ones, okay. And in the third part, the fall of many by death. And in the fall of many by death. And in the fourth part, the sending of the sword. And in the fifth part, famine and the withholding of rain. And in the sixth part, earthquakes and terrors. In the sixth part, earthquakes and terrors. This next part is wanting. The seventh part is just wanting. Okay? So let's go to wanting. Wanting is lacking in a certain required or necessary quality, or not existing or supplied, absent. The kneecap is wanting in amphibians and reptiles, or they weren't wanting in confidence. So lacking. So this is going to be lacking. There will be a lot of people lacking. There will be a lot of lacking. Isn't that what we're seeing? Lacking. Okay. And in the eighth part, a multitude. And see, remember, we are in a spiritual warfare. So all these things are happening in the spirit as well. But when we start to see them, then we can understand that these are the woes. Now, woe just simply means destruction, right? So in this of the Shadim, okay, specters, Shadim, these are demons, okay? And in the ninth part, the fall of fire. And in the 10th part, rapine and much oppression. Let's go to rapine. Let's just go to rapine. Let's just get these etymologies out of the way. Rapine. The violent seizure of someone's property, okay? So it will be in the 10th part, violent seizure of property and much oppression. I mean, we've seen all this happening. I mean, at least I have. And in the 11th part, wickedness and unchastity. Bunch of whoredom. We're in the time of whoredom. women, girls, they run around half naked, thinking that's cool, then crying and complaining that they can't find a man. Okay, not considering what your body count is cool now is ridiculous. But women got they have their burden to deal with as well, just like we do. So every one of us is in this together, but there's going to come a point where somebody's going to have to open hand slap somebody in the mouth and tell them to go put some clothes on. Simple. Okay. Otherwise, they're going to go down with the ship. And in the 12th part, confusion. Now watch this. See, so let's go back. Let's recap, because the first part was commotions. The second part was slaying of the great ones. The third part, the fall of many by death. The fourth part, sending of the sword. The fifth part was famine and withholding of rain. That means, famine and dry droughts. The sixth part, earthquakes and terrors. The seventh part is wanting, the lacking, wanting. People want things, right? And in the eighth part, a multitude of specters and attacks of the Shadim. In the ninth part, fall of fire. And in the 10th part, rapine and much oppression. Now, the 10th part. And in the 11th part, wickedness and unchastity. So now all of these things are different time periods that these things have gone into. Now, they're all, like I said earlier, I'm trying to understand how to say this, but it's within history and it's within current events. Everything happens fluidly, okay? Now, the 12th part, and in the 12th part, confusion from the mingling together of all those things aforesaid, okay? So that means that in the end, there's going to be all this madness. But that's why he said up here, he said, therefore these will be the sign. When a stupor shall seize the inhabitants of the earth. So you got to be drunk in a great stupor. You got to be drunk and foolish to go through all these things, especially when it's all happening at one time. And this is where we are in our world today. This is where we are. We have all these things happening all at once. Now, they're not all happening to us. They all have happened to us, but they're not all happening to us at this particular time. And we should give great thanks and praise for that. But these other nations are feeling this effect. They're getting it handed to them. And they don't know what to do because they don't read. Because all they want to do is have a pastor tell them when the rapture. The time of the train, the airplane Jesus is coming on whatever day, and it's taking you away. The good ship Jesus that brought over the African slaves, so-called. This is their story. The good ship Jesus is going to take us to heaven. Whatever, man. Get out of here with that madness. Not without a cost. So that was the 12th part. And the 12th part, confusion from the mingling together of all those of things aforesaid. For these parts of that time are reserved and shall be mingled one with another and minister one to another. For some shall leave out some of their own and receive in its stead from others, and some complete their own and that of others, so that those may not understand who are upon the earth in those days, that this is the consummation of times. This is the completion of times. And I love that. He said, for some shall leave out some of their own and receive in its stead from others, and some complete their own and that of others, so that those may not understand who are upon the earth in those days, that this is the consummation of time. So who is upon the earth? Esau, Jacob. The reptile people, the heathen, the Gentile. You see how they do? They got everybody, that's what I was saying about, everybody white. They got everybody looking white. Everybody's the same, so no one knows who anybody is. It's confusion. It's never been like this. Never. The Mexicans didn't look white European. The Brazilians didn't look white European. Like, it is confusing because you look at it and you go, well, damn, I guess everybody European, everybody from Europe. See that? This is what it's saying. This is why this is such a great time for us, because we are not confused. The confusion does not rest with us. We get to see it for what it is. That's why he's talking to Baruch the way he's talking, because Baruch is concerned. He's troubled. He's like, man, my people. When, Father, will this all be over? And he's telling them, when the completion of time, at the consummation of time, it will be over, Baruch. So here we are in the consummation of time. You don't think Baruch wanted to be in this point? You don't think Baruch and the other prophets wanted to see this time where these people are going to be confused, they're all going to look like Esau? Everybody want to look like Esau? You got brothers and sisters dyeing their skin to look like Esau? You got the Dominican Republic people saying they're not Jacob. Well, shoot, we ain't black. Everybody trying to be a European. Everyone. It's madness. It's a stupor. There's no consideration on this earth for truth, logic, reason, and righteousness. Coming back all soft and weak and meek. This long suffering is for a reason. It's to come back with a vengeance, literally a vengeance, restitution, retribution. And it's funny when you look at the R words that are strong. It's all of them, reconciliation, restoration, resurrection. My goodness. Retribution, the ones that said retribution. I mean, I ain't going to go through the thesaurus. But at the end of the day, everything hinges upon the mind of the Israelites. If my people who are called by my name cry out, I will hear them, right? His name is what we have been transliterated as Israel. So when we start praying, crying out, and it's funny, consciousness, right? What the collective consciousness is the 100 monkeys, the 100 monkey experiment. This is how we know that it's going to be fine for us. Because as we are sitting here crying out to the Father, talking these things, getting these things in our head and talking about them, it's manifested all else around the world. But we had to be the first ones to do it. The end is not yet. We have to endure and persevere on. But just know that the 100 monkeys experiment it's really the Israelite experiment. They just, you take any mammal, I'm sure that'll happen to any of the mammals, any of the humans. But it doesn't happen with the heathen and the Gentile because they don't consider. Only when it's considered. So the monkeys considered a better way of doing something. That spirit went throughout all the monkeys. Yo, this is a better way. How else are they going to do it? But only by way of the Most High, just like the collective consciousness of Israel. That's why all these people are losing their sanity right now. They're going into a great stupor. That's why these Jewishish people are running around in disarray. It's really hurting right now. And as they should. As they should. That's why the Gentiles are going, why can't we just get along? And they don't even understand that they are they are the cause of the effect of the demise of their civilization. The heathen, they didn't care about the civilization. They didn't consider it in the first place. They were like, the hell with it, burn it all. The Gentiles were like, well, wait a minute, let's not burn it all. Don't you want something? What if you had this and we had that? You see? And the heathen was like, I guess. The Gentiles was like, because these heathens want to destroy it all. Now, here we are. They trying to destroy it all, right? They steadily trying to destroy it all. They vaccinated everybody, or they tried to vaccinate everybody and poison them up to destroy the blood seed, right? The woman seed, destroy the blood, tear up the blood. If we got to get all the black people, this is affecting more black people than white people. Whatever, man. We need you guys to come and get this vaccination. Don't worry about the Tuskegee thing. They even have raps. I saw it on TikTok the other day. They even had a rap song about taking the vaccination, so they can get in our communities and go, you need to take this vaccination. Vaccination is good. This is what we need. Boop, boop, boop. I mean, come on, man. Why should I? Now, everybody poisoned. Now, blood clots. Now, seizures. Now, strokes. Up 10 times. 10 times the amount. So where, all this stuff was 80,000 people was happening to in a year, now it's like 800. Now it's like 800. And, ain't nobody telling you this. Ain't nobody telling nobody this. That's why payment is due. That's why it's due. Because they have hidden so much, lied about so much, distorted so much, destroyed so much. I mean, that's what Baruch was saying. I mean, what he said? He said, I mean, this Baruch 2 is just great. I would suggest a lot of people. I would suggest everybody read it. It is fascinating, and reread it and reread it and reread it, because this is so huge in terms of why things are today. It's one of the and that's the other thing. We're not here. At least I'm not. I'm not here to discuss history or current events. This is prophecy. I've always been fascinated with trying to, first of all, I'm a Pisces, so I was always fascinated with trying to understand the foreshadowings of things, to be able to get out in front of things so that I can be out of the way. So I could be, and my favorite saying growing up was always ahead of the bell curve. I want to be ahead of the bell curve. So as I got older, all that to me is prophecy. We are dealing in prophecy. The rest of the world is dealing with religion. That's why there's no congruentness. We're dealing, again, in prophecy. And when we're dealing in prophecy, we're dealing with the totality of the prophecy. So we're dealing with us and them. They don't like that. Because what they want to do is only deal with them. They don't even talk about us. You niggas ain't even nowhere around in prophecy. Matter of fact, we out of here. Peace. Deuces. Well, wait a minute. What about us? Well, we don't know and don't care. Well, okay. So our prophecy is that we get salvation and you guys get judgment. Oh my God, what are you talking about? That's so wrong. That's mean. That's so rude. That's not true. Prophecy that we're talking about. Didn't you have your own prophecy? Well, what about your eschatology? Where's your rapture? Then shut up. Then shut up. And this is why we don't care no more, because we're talking about prophecy. It's like we're speaking Hebrew, and the world's talking Yiddish. And we're going, well, we don't care about your Yiddish. We're talking Hebrew. And they're going, no, you need to talk Yiddish. But wait, you didn't want us to talk Yiddish before. You said that wasn't us and we couldn't do it. You said that we were ham and, well, no, you guys are the attack of the Shaddim. The madness is afoot. The game is afoot, like Sherlock Holmes. The madness, the game is afoot. They can't stop this game. The game of the Father is about winning. He allowed them to win some and lose some, but mostly win. So when it's all said and done and he wins the whole thing, they're done. It's the wrap for them. They are no more. That's why we ain't worried about. I keep saying that, but it's just like we are not worried about that. Whatever they're saying when it comes to this truth, they need to take a key. They need to let us lead. I mean, yeah, we'll let them lead in other places if it's necessary. But when it comes to this here, this prophecy, this history, this ancient, they need to sit down and shut up. Just like they told Kyrie and them to sit down and dribble, to shut up and dribble. They need to sit down and shut up. Because those days are done. Like, that's what I'm saying. I just say it from my perspective. I'm willing to sacrifice for this truth. I am. I'm not going to say what, but I am. You know, I'm not going to give these demons in this war. It's just like the brother from IUIC said. They said, you know, he was talking to Jason Whitlock, and Jason asked him, "Well, how many of it was you? You know, some of them say it was 100, 150 of you. How many of it was you?" And he looked at him, you know, because they looked into the camera, and he was like, you know, the Father told us not to be telling numbers. We ain't supposed to be telling numbers, so I ain't going to give you the numbers, but just know there was a lot. Same with me. I'm not supposed to sit here in this war that we're in to give information completely, but just know that I'll sacrifice. I'm willing to sacrifice. Just like I know we all are. But the Gentiles certainly aren't willing to sacrifice. That's another characteristic of knowing who they are. And the heathens choose sacrifice. I mean, they'll gut you for saying that. Matter of fact, they'll sacrifice you. They'll sacrifice your children to Baal. That's the whole Balenciaga, whatever mess is now. All this stuff is coming out. It's not a coincidence. All this stuff is coming out because they are all being judged. Starts at the top first. So, you know, all this said, you know, I'm just trying to keep the word out and, you know, put this word in your ear hole and make things clear so that they can be understood from a perspective of an Israelite. Because I know that things are about to pop up big. It's about to come so big, so fast, that it's just going to be a blur. So I'm going to end with the prayer of Baruch. No. We're going to start at 29, 48. So this is 2 Baruch 48 and 29. That's where we're going to start. For this is as follows. He that is corrupted is not at all. He has both wrought iniquity so far as lie could do anything, and has not remembered my goodness, nor accepted my long suffering. Therefore you shall surely be taken up, as I before told you. For that time shall arise which brings affliction, for it shall come and pass by with quick vehemence, and it shall be turbulent coming in the heat of indignation. And it shall come to pass in those days that all the inhabitants of the earth shall be moved one against another, because they know not that my judgment has drawn nigh. For there shall not be found many wise at that time, and the intelligent shall be but a few. Moreover, even those who know shall most of all be silent, and there shall be many rumors and plotting, not a few. And the doing of phantasms shall be manifest, and promises not a few be recounted. Some of them shall prove idle, and some of them shall be confirmed. And honor shall be turned into shame, and strength humiliated into contempt, and probity destroyed, and beauty shall become ugliness, and many shall say to many at that time, where hath the multitude of intelligence hidden itself, and whither hath the multitude of wisdom removed itself? And whilst they are meditating these things, then envy shall arise in those who had not thought of themselves, and passion shall seize him that is peaceful, and many shall be stirred up in anger to injure many, and they shall rouse up armies in order to shed blood, and in the end they shall perish together with them. And it shall come to pass at the self same time that a change of time shall manifestly appeal to every man, because in all those times they polluted themselves, and they practiced oppression, and walked every man in his own works, and remembered not the law of the Mighty One. Therefore a fire shall consume their thoughts, and in flames shall the meditations of their reins be tried. For the judge shall come and will not tarry, because each of the inhabitants of the earth knew when he was transgressing. But my law they knew not, by reason of their pride. But many shall then assuredly weep, yea, over the living more than over the dead. And I answered and said, O Adam, what have you done to all those who are born from you? And what will be said to the first Eve who hearkened to the serpent? For all this multitude are going to corruption, nor is there any numbering of those whom the fire devours. This is the deal. This is the deal. But again, I will speak in your presence. You, O Lord, my Lord, know what is in your creature. For you did of old command the dust to produce Adam, and you know the number of those who are born from him, and how far they have sinned before you, who have existed and not confessed you as their creator. And as regards all these, their end shall convict them, and your law, which they have transgressed, shall requite them on your day. The beauty of it. That's it. That is it. All things will come to fruition. All things will be made correct. And it started with us, and it's going to end with us. So all praises to the Father, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the Creator, the Ancient of Days, the Holy One, great and terrible, the Creator, my God. All praises to Yahweh Shai, the Holy Ruach, the Holy Spirit, wisdom, the Comforter. May these words I spoke tonight find edification, and I hope that soon we'll be able to converse again, God willing. Allow me to give another conversation, another teaching, another more understanding. All praises. Shalom, family.